Welcome to this video and this channel. This will be my first market technical analysis on the markets. This is building the edge, and my goal for this channel is to take you through my mental on how I look at the markets and how I view the markets and how I build my edge through this journey. I will be looking at array of things from my most traded asset, which is gold, to stocks. Prior to starting 5, 6 years ago, I used to look into forex pairs. I don't anymore. The only currency pair I look at is Euro USD. I'm sorry, short trade in Euro USD at the moment, and that is a very long term trade. So, without further ado, I'll kickstart this session. As I said, this is my first video looking into this. And so my ask is please ensure you like, subscribe, and all the good stuff. Comment, share, and let me know every time I make a video what particular currency you want me to look at. And if it's something that you like, please let's get involved and let's add value to each other. Let me get started. First thing I'm looking at is gold. For me personally, if we start long term to look for potential vulnerabilities for gold to continue selling, the most important area I can look at right here is this area, which means that if gold were to continue coming right down, this is long term on the monthly time frame, there's a potential of this trade idea. I want you guys to understand this is technical analysis based solely off structure, nothing more. This is the long term potential drawdown on structure only. Now, if I were to look moving in from that point of view into this area, and we are just focused on just this range, right? There is still a position likely to happen from this point. Now, for me, as I said, structure, base of structure. This trade for me is not minimum 1 to 2, so I don't like it as much, or it's almost 1 to 2 based off structure. I will not be calling entry prices. I don't call entry prices on here. This is just for information and my documentary purposes. This is not financial advice, please. These are my views on the potential of gold. Of course, it is also nice to look at the DXY. Now the DXY looks bullish, which reduces my risk on a potential of gold being bullish because if DXY is bullish, gold would potentially be bearish. Now, of course, we've seen a reaction of this area. Longer term, looking at the potential of DXY breaking continuous downwards, which is where we could then look at gold going up. For the short term though, this is on the monthly time frame, we might still see a bullish DXY up to this area before a drop down. But every week we will be fine tuning our potential view. The SPX, right, it is almost there for a pullback, but we are not magicians to know when this happens. We have to see more to look for potential pullbacks. So for me, the DXY is what it is, bullish. I don't see anything more than that on DXY. Microsoft did not break below this level, and since it didn't break below this level, the bulls are in charge. This gap might of course create a bit of a minor retracement to continue going up. So we might see Microsoft get all the way up to 550 areas, right? Potentially, Microsoft breaks out here and keeps going higher. BTC. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, is a very interesting asset class because no matter what you do, whether you accept it or not, you're still gambling. You are still gambling because you don't know for a fact what Bitcoin is going to do. So there are currently two potential from Bitcoin. But I want you guys to really look at this because this is very interesting. Markets rhyme, they don't repeat. Okay? Markets rhyme, they don't repeat. And this is where edge comes in. Okay, so if I am looking and I am someone just judging the markets based off rhyming patterns, I am looking at the path in which it took. So you can see a rise here into a sell, leaving this gap untouched. So it created a rise here before it came all the way back down here. And then created a high here, a touch, a rise here, a retracement, leaving a gap here and there, and a retracement, breaking this point. Now, we have two sell ideas. We have a potential from this point to come down here or to go up. Now, all these are if but maybe, as I said, these are not market advices. These are just based off what you see. So there is a potential of Bitcoin to bleed all the way down to 30,000. And for whoever watches this happen and has the confidence to do this, that would be a very interesting trade. Now, if Bitcoin then breaks above here, then we would potentially keep just taking it up. But at the moment, this is my play. As I said, I'm currently in sales down here, potentially coming here before it keeps going up. Again, this is the monthly time frame, weekly time frame. Procter and Gamble, I took buys from that price point, and it decided it didn't want to go there. So currently in a drawdown, Procter and Gamble. I think I've closed out my positions, but if not, my stop loss is here. Palantir, it is currently one of the biggest pushes, right? So you got a massive gap here. So the first level would be this level, and it's reacted from this price point. So we could potentially see Palantir continuing to go higher. Okay, potentially see that continuing. Nvidia, of course, a lot of things change with earnings reports, but as you can see, it's currently just fully bullish. Not much to do with that. Google has potentials for a short-term sell down into these areas. So if I was looking at potential entry prices, it could be, as I said, it's a short-term play. I wanted to fine-tune this maybe around this area, right? Of course, it could drop lower, but for me, 1 to 2 minimum. It's my trade ideas. Apple, very interesting run up there until I see further moves. This is a real gamble trade. So sales continuing coming down. That's what I'll be looking at. Again, massive risks. So please, risk management is of course much advised as this is not financial advice. So there is potentials of Apple, as I said, minimum 1 to 2 short-term plays. We see the same structure forming on a lot of pairs at the moment, a lot of stocks at the moment. That is saying something. Meta, nothing I can see with Meta, so we move on from Meta. Tesla looks very interesting, but it's not a play that I'm willing to watch at the moment. Walmart, Berkshire Hathaway. At the moment, everything else is slow. Liquidity for me is not much moving down this list anymore. I think I was in some sales in JPMorgan and that acted out nicely and I took out my profits. Interesting. Yeah, I've called out some plays just for myself to look through. Nothing I ever say would be financial advice. If any of these things add value to you, please ensure you like, you subscribe, and let me know what things you would like me to look at. As I said, fully technical at the moment. As I grow and I evolve, I'll be studying balance sheets and report data. But everything right now is solely based off technicals. Okay? And with this being said, have a blessed and peaceful day and see you in the next video.